Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. Sha'Carri Richardson is in Europe, Brussels to be exact, and she's preparing for a 200-meter race at Friday's Diamond League meet in the Belgian capital. It will be her first race since her last place finish over 100 meters at a highly publicized Eugene Diamond League meet on the 21st of August. At Wednesday's pre-event press conference, Richardson was asked whether she felt unfairly treated by the media in the aftermath of that disaster.
No, honestly, I feel like media is media. When you're great, they love you. When you're not on top, they have everything to say about you. Everybody turns into an internet coach. So definitely, no, I just understand that comes with media. Media is not supposed to be your friend. Honestly, I feel like media is just there to do what it does. So they love you and they hate you, but they love you and hate you and love you again. So.
ShaCarri also spoke about her ability to break Florence Griffith Joyner's world record, 10.49 seconds for the 100 meters.
Not so much worried about anybody else getting it, because even if they get it, I'm gonna take it eventually. So definitely, someone's gonna get it. I actually hope somebody breaks it, because it's been standing so long. I think that's one of the only records, obviously, that's been standing as long as they've been doing. And records are meant to be broken all the time. So if somebody gets it before me, my goal is to get it right back, get it right after them.
Leighton Levy, senior writer at SportsMax.tv, joins us. Leighton, did you detect any change in how ShaCarri conducted herself at today's press conference?
Boy, oh boy, did she change. Somebody gave her a big talking to, or somebody put her on some meds, because the ShaCarri that we saw this morning at that press conference was completely different than the one we've seen before. The abrasive, abusive, disrespectful ShaCarri Richards. She was more here, more lucid, and she actually responded to the questions, in a very respectful manner. It suggests that somebody had a serious talk with her in the last couple of weeks, because this is a complete turnaround from what we've seen from her before.
Yeah, and Leighton, I want to cue in on her comment about the media. She basically says that the media is not supposed to be a friend. How did you feel about that?
That's another good talking point for her, because, she's been getting a lot of flack recently in the media. You remember after the doping incident at the U.S. trials, there was a lot of sympathy towards her. That had begun to turn, especially when she attacked Allyson Felix, who actually offered some conciliatory words to her last week while on Jimmy Kimmel's show. So what we've seen from her is now beginning to be more diplomatic in her approach. She said all the right things that she needed to say about the media. That the media can be your friend when things are going well, or not your friend when things are not going so well. More diplomatic in her responses. So, it's in line with what we saw from her for the entire press conference this morning.
Yeah, and of course, I want to move now to the track. Of course, her performances will matter most. Do you see her redeeming herself after coming last in the 100 meters in Eugene?
I think so. She's had a couple of weeks now to probably get some solid work in. And, of course, understanding the dynamic of who she's up against. Of course, Elaine Thompson is not in the race anymore. But there's Christina Mboma, who's run 21.81 and 21.82 this year, winning silver in Tokyo, and of course the world title and the World Under-20 Championships in Nairobi, Kenya. Of course, in that race as well, Shericka Jackson, 21.82. Dina Asher-Smith, who's run 22.06 this year. ShaCarri's season's best is 22.11. Her personal best is 22 flat. So she's going to have to run really well to get the better of this field. Can she? I think she can, but she has to come with a totally different approach than the one she came with in Oregon, where on recognizing that she was unable to pull back the field, in my mind, certainly, she gave up. This time, she can't afford to, because I'm sure her sponsors are looking on, and of course, the people who are usually supporting her are looking on. They want to see a much better performance from her here. I don't think she has to win to keep them on board, but she has to compete and compete well. So if she finishes in the top 2 or 3, I think that would be probably more acceptable. But if she gives another performance like the one she gave in Oregon, it's not going to go down well with the American media and, of course, the American public.
Yeah, Leighton, she didn't have much by way of explanation for her poor effort in Eugene. I remember her saying something to the effect that she wasn't focusing on her lane. She wasn't focusing on the job at hand, which was probably a hint that she was probably overcome by the Elaine Thompson and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce battle that loomed for her. This field is a little easier, but the 200, I would say, is not the stronger of her two events, the 100 and the 200. How difficult will it be for her in this 200-meter race? As I think she's only run two 200-meter races so far this year.
Yeah, and of course, as I mentioned before, 22:11 is her best time this year. She's up against a field that might not have the star power with an Elaine Thompson not in it. But when you consider 18-year-old Christine Mboma, who has done spectacularly well this year. Remember, she's come down from, I think, 23 seconds this year to 21:81, chasing down Elaine Thompson, running past Gabby Thomas and, of course, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at the Olympic Games. She won't be intimidated by this moment because she brought her best effort at the Olympic Games. So this is just fun for her. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mboma comes out there tomorrow and does something even more spectacular as well. And that goes for Shericka Jackson as well, because on paper, Mboma is faster than both of them. So, it's going to be a tough race. It might not look that way on paper, but when you look at the reality of who is in that race, and of course, you remember Dina Asher-Smith, 21.8 athlete, ran 22.19 in Oregon. She's had a few weeks now to get even sharper and would want to end her season on a high. I'm suspecting that she might be ready to run under 22 seconds again. So it's going to be a very competitive race. I think it's going to be really tough for her to end up in the top three. But I still think it's possible, given that she has fresher legs than everybody else in this race, because most of these other people have been running all season long. She's run one race since June. So she has fresher legs. So she has that advantage in of course, doing well in this race in Brussels on Friday.
Yeah, this race by no means an easy race. It is a tough race. I was just making the point that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Elaine Thompson aren't there, but in quality, this field is a tough one. I suspect that Shericka Jackson, who mistimed her run in the heats at the 200 in Tokyo, probably would have medaled in the 200-meter final if she had gone there. And of course, she was one of the athletes way in front of ShaCarri in the Eugene 100-meter race a couple of weeks ago. So I would actually pick Jackson to finish in front of Richardson here as well.
Yeah, and that would be a reasonable prediction to make. I mean, I think based on form, I think Shericka on paper certainly is faster than. Remember, Shericka's time is this year. ShaCarri's time is this year. She doesn't run in 200 very often. So I suspect that if Shericka is not too tired, she'll most likely end up ahead of ShaCarri. The thing is, where will Mboma finish? Where she finish, in front of both of them as well. And of course, you can't out-discount somebody like Beatrice Messalingi, who's run 22:18. Remember, this works both ways. There are a lot of these guys in this race, these girls in this race, who are going to be running on tired legs. And then, of course, there's ShaCarri, who's fresher, but not necessarily race sharp, having had one race in the 100 meters 3 weeks ago. So it's who's going to be able to bring their A game or as close to their A game as possible, given the respective circumstances that they find themselves in.
You heard her at the press conference this morning, though, Leighton.
Yeah, I heard her. My jaw is still on the floor I was waiting for the moment when she would lose her mind, especially when they asked her about, about the negative press she's been getting. And then to see her respond in such a mature manner compared to where she was before was kind of shocking.
No, but Lance isn't talking about that. She corrected somebody about calling her ShaCarri. She says her name is ShaCarri. So Leighton, she won't be very pleased with you today.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't care really. The thing is, no, what she's done.
You don't care about ShaCarri?
No, I mean, I think she does. I think she brings eyes to the sport. I think what she is a good foil for the more traditional athletes that we have in the sport, which is good for the sport. What I don't like is her abusive and abrasive behavior, like a spoiled child. Today she was still confrontational, but in a very nice way. And I think that's maybe the way forward for her.
Okay, well, Friday's meet is going to be a hot one, and we anxiously look forward to see what she does there. But I wouldn't be surprised if she does make the top 3, Leighton. I don't know what you think.
I think motivation is behind it. Whoever sat down and spoke to her, that saw her deliver this press conference this morning,
Yes.
probably said to her, listen, you are walking on eggshells right now. You need to be able to deliver. Yeah, you need to stay calm and you need to deliver on the track.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to talk a big game. You have to be able to back it up. And so far, she has not been able to back up that big talk that she has. But Friday is a great opportunity at the end of the season. And it also gives her an opportunity to get into the final of the Diamond League final in Zurich in a week's time. So there's money on the line. And of course, there's potential loss of sponsors or gaining of sponsors on the line as well.
Nike probably said.
Yeah, Nike probably and our people say, listen, man, cut the foolishness. You need to get your head straight and start competing. And this, I think, is the first sign of that. And I think, based on what we saw from her, the calmer, more, relaxed ShaCarri would suggest that she's ready to at least be competitive. I don't think she necessarily will win, but she will be competitive.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain we'll talk again on Friday after the event, Leighton. Thanks for talking to us.
As usual, guys, have fun. Take it easy.
Yeah, so ShaCarri had a different body language today, Mariah, and her temperament was a lot more.
Color.
Yeah, was a lot more measured. Let's see if her performances on the track will be any different from what we saw in Eugene.
It's the red hair, Lance.
The red hair.
It's having a good impact on her.
Okay.
Maybe it suits her better.
Okay, we'll see. Still to come on the SportsMax Zone, we relive a thrilling CPL battle between the Ghana Amazon Warriors and Trinbago Knight Riders and talk about some of the players pushing for World Cup selection. And we're also talking about this man, India's captain, and his recent struggles with the bat. Stay with us.